It's like,
All right.
I gotta take a shit.
I gotta get water.
If you've
No,
been
I-
recording this podcast,
I can
while you're on
hold it
toilet.
in for like 5 hours.
Okay.
Dylan, just go take
God.
a shit. Just go
No.
take a shit.
No,
Just go take a shit.
it's like not that. It's not that time yet. It's not the time yet. I want to be like Clog, like Lighthouse. Freaking Willem Dafoe has his fecal matter all over the place in bowls.
Hello,
It's
everybody.
fucking
Welcome
disgusting.
welcome to another episode of Metrocast, episode 3. We're back again. I'm Leon Dion.
And I'm Meredith.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Dylan. Hi.
And you have fecal matter dripping out of your ass right now.
Hey, shut up.
Yeah, I guess that's what's been talked about recently is the Lighthouse, which I haven't seen yet. It's nowhere near me.
Good, because it's garbage.
It's.
I don't. Mark, how did you see it? You don't live anywhere by LA.
How did I see it?
Yeah.
Advanced screening. They had an advanced free screening.
No way.
Yeah.
No, you're lying.
Yeah, they did.
No.
I'm not.
Dude, don't.
I'm not.
Don't play with my heart like that.
I'm not playing with your heart. They had an advanced screening over here.
Yeah.
I just don't want to believe you because if that's true, then I feel like my town has been totally just brushed over.
They had an advanced screening. Yeah.
You're telling me they didn't have one in Salt Lake? None?
I don't fucking know. I'm not looking at Utah. I'm looking at Texas.
Everyone should be looking at Utah.
You know what? True. You know why people should be looking at Utah?
Why?
For all this Joker controversy.
Oh my god, again. The third episode in a row we're talking about the
Joker. Perfect segue.
Yeah. So I've seen the Joker. I've seen it 3 times now.
Whoa! Good.
Yeah, I've done. Please give me the award now. I've done my gamer award. I've supported good cinema.
Gamer.
Gamer moment.
Yeah, I've supported cinema. I've saved cinema single-handedly with what would accumulate to probably like $30 worth of tickets.
Whew.
Yeah. So are we ready to talk about Joker finally?
Yeah,
after all the hype.
I'm not the only one who's seen it. You guys have seen it too?
Yeah, I've seen Joker.
How many times?
We're not going to discuss that number.
You can say it.
We've watched Joker twice, and it got better second time around. Not gonna lie, it got a lot better second time around. I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
Dylan's actually taking the cake. I've heard that he's seen it 5 times. First time was in 35mm. Second time was in IMAX. Third time was on a cam rip, and then the 4th time was in the theater, and then the 5th time was in a live stream on some sort of obscure Russian website. So he's seen it in all kinds of formats.
Oh yeah, Dylan has seen Joker many times.
It's probably his favorite movie of the year.
One time was not enough. I had to subject myself. It's like maybe it'll be better.
Maybe it'll be better this time, and
maybe it'll be really epic. But
you can't get better than a 10 out of 10.
Maybe no. It's because I didn't see it in 35. That's why.
It's like a masterpiece.
It's honestly. I didn't see it projected on film.
You didn't see it on film? It looks amazing on film. It's great.
Right.
That's what made me.
It looks trash.
That's what made me bring it to an 8 out of 10. I saw it in 35, and I was like,
35 does
that. Yeah.
Every movie should be done in 35.
Yes,
Green,
amen.
35.
They had 70mm screenings too.
It's you're wrong, Leon. Because every movie should be done in 120 frames per second.
Oh my god!
Fucking, have you seen Gemini Man?
No, you're not gonna derail this. No Gemini Man talk here.
Bro, that's so much better.
I think the only person who hasn't seen it is
movie of the year.
The only person who hasn't seen Joker is Meredith, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. So I will. I'm Team Switzerland in this
Team
topic.
Switzerland, very neutral.
Yes. Yep. I'm very neutral as of right now.
Because I've seen, I hop on Letterboxd every once in a while. I go to www.com/letterboxd/Leon D on the profile. It's a little plug in there. But I go on the homepage. I have a good cup of Joe with me in the morning, and I log in and I see that Dylan's given it 1.5 stars, and I'm just, my day's ruined, really. How else am I
Oh, on
supposed to
Joker?
yeah, how else am I supposed to formulate my opinion?
I know. Dylan's just like, oh yeah, Joker's
just a
so
hater.
bad. I know you're just a hater. You're like Murray in the movie. Like you're gonna get what
Well,
you
yeah, it's
deserve.
like,
Like
wow,
so
yeah,
bad.
yeah, I get what I deserve. I'm gonna get good movies. I can move on to like better movies.
Okay, why did you hate Joker? Now that
I
Yeah,
don't
good
think
question.
now that
might
we
be a
can
little
actually talk
hyperbolic.
about it without
Like,
spoilers and all that.
well, I think I have to get into spoilers if
Yeah,
I'm having to talk. Well, I mean, I don't know.
this is a spoiler discussion, so we can talk
Yes.
about
Well, I
it
mean, I'd
all
like
you
to hear
want.
what you guys have to like say about it first,
All
because
right.
like before I go into like some mumble jumble BS spiel over that.
All right,
Some
bud.
spiel over Joker. All right,
Mark,
you want me to
take
go
it.
first?
Yeah, take it. The floor is yours.
All right. All right. So the first time I watched Joker, I was like, it's all right. It's not great. It's not amazing. I felt like I walked out of it and I was like, no, definitely wasn't worth the controversy. First of all, the controversy is fucking stupid. As we've already established, it's genuinely retarded. And after seeing the movie, it literally doesn't add up to how anybody could get the like comprehension that it's a dangerous film, because the film clearly doesn't even condone the main character. It just presents it, and it's in a way where it's super flat. It's like, it's morally gray. Yeah, it's morally ambiguous, and it's so
Wait, is it though?
over.
Nah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
It kind of is, but it kind of isn't.
That's the point, though. It's right. It's really on the nose about how it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to like this guy. You're not supposed to like this guy. This dude's stalking a fucking mom with a child. You're not supposed to like this guy. Don't like this guy, please. Like, it doesn't have enough balls to be like, maybe you should like him, but I mean, that's not that big of a problem. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it has a bit to say, and not a lot, but what it wants to say is really interesting, and I like how I was talking to Dylan about this a couple nights ago, where I was just saying how I think that the movie, in a way, is a critique and a look on how, in our modern society, we kind of give this power to certain individuals who just want to take lead of a group or an agenda or a push, like a political leader or something along those lines, and they will just kind of use it to their own personal gain without having any actual care towards the politic behind the group itself, and they're doing it more out of the attention for themselves. Like Joker, that's the whole point. He's just there like, oh, I don't have a political agenda. Like, I don't believe in that shit.
Mhm.
And then like he has this huge following behind him, and just like, yeah, fuck the rich, kill them, blah, 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 skin Bruce Wayne, all that shit.
Why Bruce
All
Wayne?
that
He's just
great.
a little boy.
Okay, okay, Thomas Wayne,
Yeah.
skin Thomas Wayne. Fuck that guy. That's pretty much the point, and it's him taking charge of this group, but he gives absolutely no shits about what they're trying to do, what their point is, and I think that's a really interesting critique, especially being made in today, because it seems like these, like, just politicians in general, they seem to be taking charge less of interest. Like, you could say Donald Trump. You could say this movie is like the most anti-Trump movie of all time, because Thomas Wayne is Daddy Trump.
Pretty much.
That's
yeah.
pretty much his character. He's there like, oh, the poor are clowns.
Did you know that Alec Baldwin was rumored to play as Thomas Wayne?
I could see it. I could genuinely see it.
Well,
Like, I
probably
thought
because he played Trump on SNL several times.
it was probably the joke. It was a big inside joke. That's the movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think my biggest problems to, like, after rewatching it, I really like the movie a lot more because I kind of picked up on that undertone of it,
Hmm.
or just the kind of smaller statements it wants to make. The bigger statement is like, oh, mental health. You got to pay attention to that. It's dangerous.
Hmm.
And I think I can understand how somebody could lead into getting the idea that the film is saying that everybody with mental issues or anybody who's mentally ill is dangerous.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how people want to critique it for that, because it portrays it pretty on the nose with that kind of setup, and it can lead into that critique. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It's very shocking, but it sticks. It sticks formulaic enough to be somewhat shocking, but it also plays off of its own indulgence in a really weird way, which I found incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
Every bit of violence in the film, it works to portray these events as like horrific, and it also works to be like, oh well, he's actually enjoying everything that he's doing. Like immediately after like murdering the 3 Subway people, the three workers at Subway, after murdering all 3 of them, he goes on into a restroom and then he's like and then he starts dancing and he's like, ooh, bathroom dance. Like Dylan was telling me, he was just like, oh, it's so bad, it's so goofy, it's like it don't make no sense. But I was like, it's kind of there. It's kind of there to like distance. That is
like,
the big
whoa.
key.
He like rose up as a gamer.
Oh my god, all these gamer jokes are gonna be made.
The gamer jokes. You have to get them out of the way. But it definitely just works as the true barrier to explicitly state that this is not a good person, is that he just finds self-satisfaction and enjoyment out of just completely doing these actions that are horrific and dangerous and deadly. And he just starts dancing, and it's truly a interesting film. I don't think I gave it enough credit on my first watch, but seeing it again really did morph it into a more cohesive idea for me. I think my problem now at this point is just Phoenix's performance in a weird way, because like he's great, he's really, really good, but I feel in an odd way I felt bad for him. Not him, not the character. I felt bad for Phoenix because it feels like he's acting so hard. Like it's an actual transformation, and that's fantastic about it. But it feels like kind of desperate in a way. Like he's like, look at me, look at what I'm doing, and I don't know. It's a bit flashy. It's really flashy for one of Phoenix's performances, and I knew there was something off about it, but I just couldn't put my finger on what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And compared to everything else, like I think You Were Never Really Here does this whole idea and plot a lot better.
Very subdued.
And I think his a lot more subdued. This is more over the top and very show-offy in a way. That's really my biggest issue with it now, but I still think he's fantastic in it. He really transforms the character into something a lot different. So does the screenplay, actually, which I know the screenplay sucks. Okay, it can suck every now and then, but God, it at least went some different ways with the character, which is what I respect about it.
Yeah,
is that it takes creative risks in exploring the Joker as a person and not as a caricature
or a concept.
or a concept. Yeah,
like Jared Leto Joker once famously said, "I'm an idea," and then he claps his hands. You know.
And then everybody was like, "Oh my God, that's so deep." I definitely enjoyed it more. I think I like Phoenix a lot more than Jared Leto or whoever the fuck the other guy was.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Or Jack Nicholson.
Either. I like that there's an actual
Caesar something. Caesar.
Them too.
Oh, Cesar Romero, yeah.
Yeah, Cesar Romero. That's who I thought it was. Played his Joker in the '60s.
In my head, I think it would go Joaquin Phoenix, Mark Hamill, Jack Nicholson, then Heath Ledger, and then Jared Leto. I like he.
You like Heath?
I like Mark Hamill. No, he's all right. No, I like Mark.
Sorry.
I guess
I like
Mark Hamill technically counts because he was in a theatrical film. Several actually. Killing Joke does count as a theatrical release.
It's a lot of them. I like Mark Hamill and Jack Nicholson for their charisma, but I like Joaquin Phoenix more for his overall take and just expressionistic view on the character, where it's going down to like the physicality. Fuck you! I was gonna say that too. Physicality. Yes.
I got him.
All right. That's about it. I need to go take a piss.
All right. Okay, so for me, I love this movie. It's my favorite of the year, unironically. Of all that I've seen this year, it is unironically my favorite movie. It beat out Ad Astra the week after I saw it because I loved it that much.
It's really good.
I walked out of the theater the first time and I was like, oh my god. I
Okay,
love
this is epic.
Yeah, I walked out with my gamer t-shirt and I said, oh, wow, this is epic. I was able to get past the usher after the no singles policy and my Joker get up, and I was able to say gamers rise up in the theater, and I had a fantastic time watching it in the theater with all the fellow gamers.
Anyway, yeah.
No, but on a serious note, I love the opening scene a lot. I love the way that it portrays Gotham as obviously it's a take on New York, but as Todd Phillips called it, he called it Gotham Square. And I like that idea. I think that it just cascades and presents an entirely different cityscape to me. Obviously, it looks a lot like New York, and it's supposed to be New York, but to me, it feels different enough to be its own thing, you know? But I love the opening scene where we get introduced to Arthur Fleck and his character, and obviously life is not easy, and it beats him down the first scene. And when we see him get hit in the face by that sign and kicked by those kids, my heart immediately is like, I feel bad for this guy. I feel awful. I feel actually like kind of disturbed, and I feel just very uncomfortable watching this poor man, obviously who isn't well, just get kicked by these kids who just are towering over him, literally. And then when he falls over, the flowers, squirts out the water, and then boom, Joker title card. And I love that. I don't know. It's so memorable. I love almost every aspect and detail of that. And I love the little slip and fall that he does when he chases after the kids in the alleyway.
Oh, the little wee,
Yeah.
like a slip and slide.
Yeah. And then, you get to the point where he gets fired. And you can see that smile that he puts on his face, and it's just so unnerving and it's grotesque. And obviously, when he gets into that subway and he kills those three, Gotham, Gotham City, Wall Street types, he obviously enjoys that he killed them because this is the first time he's ever had any real control in his life. When he shot those guys down and killed them, he made a decision to make sure that these people no longer exist and that their impact has no, or that their being has no impact on anybody else or the physical world around him. And to him, that presents a whole new world of possibilities that he has never once had before as Arthur Fleck, and he is slowly transforming into the Joker from that point on. And like I know that for some the bathroom dance scene might be like a little too corny, but for me I love it. It's immaculate. It's perfect. I love the slow turns. I love the slow camera movement. I love the colors, and I love the way that it looks physically and on a texture side. It just it's so good. I can feel myself in that bathroom in that tiny tiny space. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about other things that I like about it. Obviously, it's great to see De Niro try again. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have something like the Irishman come out later, but it's great to see that De Niro actually cares again to be a presence
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
he does really great in the movie.
Obviously, he's Jerry Lewis in The King of Comedy. He is the Jerry Lewis character, but I like that they don't make him as obvious as an asshole until after you see him on TV making fun of Arthur. And that scene where Arthur goes and does his comedy bit and he can't get the words out because he's so
Oh
nervous.
god,
Oh,
that was painful.
it was
That was
painful,
painful to watch.
and it was
It was
sad.
cringe.
It was cringy.
It's cringy. That's the point.
It
It's
made a
supposed to be
cringe
cringy.
compilation. It was
It's the best
sad.
cringe compilation.
To me, it was just sad. Like I just felt genuinely sad for this guy.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, it's obviously, I mean, like I think it's a morally complex movie because you feel bad for this guy, and you know that murdering people is wrong. Obviously, killing people is wrong. But there's something that you can't help but feel like maybe, like if something if someone else had stepped in his life, or if the city hadn't cut off funding, that things like this may have not happened. It's a lot of what ifs or what could have beens, the should haves, the would haves, the could haves.
Yeah, I something I found really interesting was the whole comparison to Taxi Driver. Not less that I'm agreeing with it, because I think there's a lot less to compare Taxi Driver to than there is to compare King of Comedy to, which is definitely the bigger one. But I think it's kind of it has more of a question about what you do
What your
and
role in
how even in
another
your life
individual's
you're
life means.
yeah.
That's the impression I got, because like the small person, I can't remember his name, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was the only person in that company that Arthur worked for that was ever nice to him, and so he's the only one that gets to live from that encounter in Arthur's apartment. I don't know, it's just like it kind of says something. Maybe you could dig deeper into it if people chose to.
Mhm.
I think that it's just very surface level for me. I think that it says something about kindness means something to somebody, you know? I also love the third act. The third act is probably my favorite aspect about this whole movie, where he gets onto the show. The colors are so good. I love that they're muted, but you can still tell that they're popping through, you know?
Oh, like the curtains
Yeah, the
and
curtains, and
all
when
that
he's
and
in the
whatnot.
when he's in the dressing room, or when
When
he's
he's watching the riots going on in the city.
yeah, or when he's like smoking the cigarette. Like it's obviously a very bright blue, but it's muted enough that it has its own flair to it that just stands out. And when he kills Murray, it's an obviously disturbing thing.
Oh Jesus, that yeah.
I mean, the way that he reacts to the gunshot after he does it, and the way, and like I mean, the speech leading up to it is it's very like, this is how you're supposed to feel. Like, I get it, and I could obviously see people be like, oh, that's stupid. I hate it. I don't like it. It's telling me how to feel. But I didn't have a problem with it.
See, I didn't have much of a problem with it because it felt more like a personal rant to me, even though like yeah, you could say that's like the message of the film.
Hmm.
It just felt more like thing that he wanted to get, and it's so like poorly communicated, and I feel like that's less of from the writing aspect and more from the characters aspect.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
obviously,
he's like, we're gonna go werewolf, and I'm like, oh, what?
yeah, obviously, when you're stressed out in a situation like that, you're not going to be calm, collected, and execute that pathos, you know,
Yeah, of
very
course.
well. And I think that
Even
it says something to me that I like, and I think it's just a good movie in general.
nah, yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
I love the stair dance scene, and I've heard that they might remove it because of copyright, or that they don't want to give the so the song it's a
Because the songwriter's a pedophile.
yeah, the songwriter's a pedophile. They don't want to give that guy any more money. But I love the stair scene. It's great. He is truly free when that happens, and I love the little pigeons flying out from behind
Oh
him.
yeah.
It reminds me of something like John Woo with doves, but instead it's urban, so you get pigeons instead.
You know, they should just exchange that song with Black Skinheads from Kanye West.
They could.
It's the same beat.
Just do with any like song, to be honest, because it's like that's how the scene's so trash.
Okay.
No.
I have another thing I have to talk about and I have to touch on is the score. I love the score. I've actually listened to the score outside of the movie itself, and I don't do that a lot unless the score throughout the movie is present to me and I'm like, "Oh, that's really good. It sets a good tone." But it also sounds good outside of the movie itself. Especially the title card scene, the bathroom dance scene, and at the end of the movie where he is in the cop car. Like those
I,
great stuff.
I think you're about to get shocked when Dylan says that he fucking hated the score. He's like, "Oh my god, it's like Moody Strings."
I think for me the movie's a 9 out of
Oh,
10. 9 out of 10 for me.
like it's like some fucking what is it? Like what is it under like subpart under the skin BS?
Hey, Under the Skin is good too.
Mika Levy.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one.
That's the
Yeah,
same thing. It's only worse. I'm just kidding.
Dylan.
I
What? Okay, now that I've gotten pretty much everything I need to say out.
wait, one last thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I actually enjoyed the needle drops in a weird way. All of them except I fairly enjoyed, even at the very end when he's just reciting "That's Life," and it's such like a kind of hypnotic kind of thing where it's like whispering it under his breath, but it's just a really menacing fucking stare, and it's when he's talking to the social worker at Arkham,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just fucking murders her. I was like, oh great, great ending.
Like, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, Dylan, you wouldn't get it.
Do
You
did I
remember
not,
you
did I not
remember
get it?
Death Proof? You remember Death Proof, Dylan?
Yeah.
Remember how you
it
told me
is-
I didn't get it?
Yeah, because
You just didn't
it's
get
a
it.
masterpiece.
You just didn't get it, Dylan.
Oh yeah, the only thing is Death Proof's actually good.
Anyways, Dylan.
And it was actually shot on film.
Okay.
It's
Anyways,
like,
Dylan, Joker. What did you think?
okay, 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 okay. I don't really know how to put it into words very effectively, which is why I dipped on writing up my review of it. But essentially, what a lot of my critique boils down to is like I think what Leon said earlier is that it's like not that I need all films to have this very complex investigation on like its themes and ideas, blah blah blah. Okay, I don't give a fuck about that most of the time. But I think the problem that I have with Joker is like I don't know. It's like how do I put it? It's like the sort of like how bland its moralizing can get, or like how it's sort of or its lack of investigation of its own ideas and themes. If that makes any sense. Like if the whole film is about like this sort of investigation about the being aware of mental health, I get, but it's also I get that the whole film's supposed to be about that, but it's also a film that also in some way wants to critique or at least wants to bring up like who are the the perpetrators of the kinds like what is it called, the institutions that create people like Arthur. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And the film doesn't like it tries to do that. Like it brings up some aspects of like Reagan era economics, like because the whole film takes place in the 1980s, and like halfway through the film, Arthur's what is it, fucking like healthcare or whatever gets cut or
Yeah.
whatever. So there's like it's clearly like they're making an explicit point to like bring it up, and multiple times it's like, oh yeah, no, they don't give a shit. Like the people up there, they don't give a shit about us, or like, and even Thomas Wayne, he like says like on TV, like everyone below us are just a bunch of fucking clowns or like deplorables,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of all it has to say, really. I'm not saying like it has to go in depth, like I said, but like it clearly thinks it's a film that acts like it has like much grander statements or this big grand statement about how these things affect society, but really it doesn't. It plays it in the most bland, like a bland, not like unpolitical way possible. And I get that's the point, because if there's anything that the Joker is about, it's supposed to be from the whole like viewpoint of Arthur. So maybe in a way it's like we only understand it as much as he can comprehend it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But even then, like at the end, it's like completely thing. It's like, oh yeah, no, it's like I'm here. I'm like this because like on the Murray Franklin stuff, it's like, I'm like this because you guys made me. Like, what is it? Like, what do you get
When
when
you
you
cross a mentally ill
owner
loner
with the
with the
society
society.
that abandons him and treats him like trash? And it's like, I mean, granted, it's like that could just be like a thing. I don't know. It's a little bit. I mean, granted, it could just be like that sounds more like a nitpick, but I think it is representative of like the whole problem with the film though that I had. It's a film that wants to make these political statements about mental health and the institutions that what is it create people like Arthur, or that can create people like Arthur.
And marginalize them.
But at the same time, it's too afraid to like go all the way with it. It's like, oh no, I'm not. It pulls back way too much on it. It's like, well, what's the whole overall message of it? And maybe it's that we were all the Jokers, because it's like you so mindfuck at the end.
Oh, the mindfuck.
Yeah, it's
Which
like,
one?
oh, it was,
There's multiple.
oh, it's like Joker theory is the main character is Arthur Fleck the real Joker?
Did they
Oh my
imagine it
God.
all in
As
their
you can
mind?
see, it's like you wouldn't get it, and he says you wouldn't get it, and at the end, it's clear that Arthur is in at least his early to mid 30s, and Batman is only like 12 years old. So unless Joker or whatever had like by the time he's 50 still has the strength to and mental fortitude to go up against Batman when he's like in his late 20s, I don't see
He's
what
in
the
his
whole thing
prime.
is.
Oh my God.
But I think that's just the big takeaway I have with it. I mean, yeah. Granted, I still think it's like very I don't know how to describe it. Phoenix is great and it has some decent form going on. Like I said, I do love films that where you know setting and atmosphere do inform mood. I mean, granted, that's most films to be honest. But I think it's the way it's done on Joker is relatively well done, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The production
Like it
design is
does
great.
feel like it's like it actually like there's one thing I do like it's Phoenix and that, but other than that it's just like you know.
I saw a great post where it was like comparing Joker's Gotham to every other Gotham, and it was just like it's one of the only ones aside from the Tim Burton film and Batman Begins that feels like it's taking place in something other than just New York City.
Yeah.
It feels like it actually has a character.
Oh, but honestly, I mean, maybe because I visited New York before seeing it.
Fuck
It's like, oh,
you,
this is
you
just New
hack,
York. What the hell?
you hack, you hack,
This is like no difference. Just like when
bourgeoisie.
they just went
Wow,
to New
there's
York
trash
and just
everywhere.
exactly. Honestly, I was thinking, wait, is this Los Angeles?
No,
I mean,
it's
honestly,
Silver
I
Lake. What do
think
you
Los
mean?
Angeles would have been a better answer. Well,
Set
actually,
in
no.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, because Los Angeles is fucking garbage.
No, but if you want to
Just
put it up
kidding.
like with the Snyder universe, you could just put it in Chicago, like usual.
Eh, I have no idea about the Snyderverse. It's trash.
Okay.
I'd say
Or-
that
or-
Point
if
being,
you
it's
should
like,
check it
yeah,
out. You should
but
watch
yeah,
it.
that's honestly like all I have to kind of say about it now. At the very least, it's like as clear and coherent as I think I can make it at this very moment.
Yeah. I mean, I love
Mhm.
Joaquin in the movie. I think he's a tour de force, as they say in the papers. But
But
A
also, I think
tour
there's
de force.
also if I think I was saying this to Mark, but I think there's also like an interesting thread about how what is it called? There's something about there's something I picked up on in like rewatching it about like something with the whole Martha Wayne and like Tom like not Martha but like what is it like
Thomas.
Joker's mom?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Penny
like
Fleck.
Penny Fleck and like Thomas Wayne thing, like how she always kept on writing him letters. But I think like on the outside, there's also a thing to that too, like some
Yeah.
sort of thing
I think
about how the rich make like the fucking lower middle, like the lower class, dependent upon them or whatever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
As they control pretty much every aspect of our lives, you know.
I mean, and that's a thing, but there's just something about it though. I don't know, like a way it's treated. But then again, I guess it also feeds into like the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, no, they're just indifferent or whatnot.
Pretty
Whatever,
much.
fuck you.
she no, I get that. It's like she sees him so much through the film, almost like
But I
a
think that's also
savior kind of.
like emblematic of like a lot of the lower class too, like Penny Fleck's own sort of idolizing of Thomas Wayne.
Or just
Yeah, it's almost like religious,
it's
where
a,
she's like,
it's
"He's gonna
Yeah, it's
save
like,
us."
oh yeah, she's gonna save us all. Wow, wow, wow.
on the same side of the coin. It could be the same way that Arthur put
So in
Murray
a way, you
as
could
his
say it's
father
like,
figure.
Mhm.
in a way, it's also probably the same thing. It's like don't have too much trust in in like these kinds of people or institutions, like or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, that's the whole point. It's like the film's like fuck everybody,
Pretty much.
Power to the
fuck the
people.
world.
Fuck
Everyone's
the-
a bad person.
And granted, I think the whole political thing can also be like just a whole like background. I get that's probably supposed to be the whole part of the background too.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's all just about Arthur's own sort of struggles with kind of coming to terms with like what is it, place in the world, and well not place, but kind of, and also like his identity and whatever familial ties and whatnot, blah 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 blah. But I guess the whole thing is kind of the whole criticism. This comes like when I think the political side starts to kind of be more apparent, or like when it tries to actually make it like, oh yeah, it's all about the politics now. I think that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that I think later on as it goes along, it tries to make it about that, even though most of the film it hasn't really been like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the major divide I have for me. And anyway, that's all I have to say about it.
What did you think of the ending?
It's a prank, bro.
It's just
It's like as what is it? What I found awesome. That's the other thing I found the best thing about it was the fact that the Waynes. What is it? It was a review I saw of it. It's like the best part about it was that the fucking Waynes got murked after watching Blowout. Like honestly.
You know, you could just say, you could put this on Reddit for some karma if it hasn't already been done yet, but you could go to r/movies because r/true film is too epic for this joke movie. But if
Oh
you go to
my God.
r/movies, you could say when Arthur's walking and you see the blood underneath his foot, you could say that maybe he did kill that woman that he was
Of course he did.
by, or
Is that even a debate?
or it could be a metaphor for the trail of blood that he's leaving behind him.
Oh, God.
And that would get some karma.
Yeah, that would get some.
That would
epic
get
karma.
That would get some fucking mega
Or
karma.
like
Holy
just go like just post fucking staircase scene.
Staircase scene.
It's like wow. It's like do you get it? It's this descent into madness finally solidified
You know, people have been,
with like the ringing bells. I'm like fuck off.
people have been going to
Meme that post.
people have been
I know, it's
going to that
fucking dumb.
staircase. People have been going to that staircase and calling it the gamer mecca.
The gamer mecca.
Yeah.
The holy site of incels.
Well, the other thing is that cosplayers are going there dressed as like thoughty version of Joker and doing
Thoughty?
It's great.
a thought
It's
version
great.
of Joker, and I'm like, bruh, do you not get it? Like, do you not get it at all?
This is what the movie was against.
Yeah, but the other, I mean, we didn't touch it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be against like idolizing these types of figures.
Yeah,
No, it's
but
against
both on both
idolizing thoughties. Joker
Bruh.
was a thoughtie.
because we didn't talk about
What?
the fact, we
Well,
didn't talk
Thomas Wayne was a
about-
thoughty then.
we didn't talk about
Whatever, fuck it.
we didn't talk about the girlfriend being like
Well,
an
yeah,
illusion.
she's like, wow, it's so crazy out there.
It's so
It's
crazy
crazy
out
out
there, and then
She has like a thing. It's like, yeah, fuck the 1%, fuck you.
well, also, who puts a gun to their head to a stranger they've never met? And it's like, I'll kill myself, right? I'll show you.
Did y'all see that coming? Tis the question.
Yes.
Kind of like just the whole scene. Like I'm gonna like burst in here and I'll kiss you after only seeing you like twice.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the giveaway. I think if you wanted to set it up in a like more where like because they go for the sense that oh this is a twist, nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
Haha.
Well, I mean, the fact
we
that he
fooled
like
you.
she hangs out with him.
I know no,
He's,
but
like,
it's like
freaking, like awkward as fuck and cringe.
It's
if you
awkward as
wanted
fucking
if you wanted to make more surprise to that, you could have just like you could have changed the whole thing where we already know that he sees like or that what we're seeing is not all that's there.
yeah.
Like with the Murray show thing, like
Uh-huh.
that would have made it more of a surprise where it's just like oh so he's fucking nuts.
Sorry, that poster's just so
Bless you.
cringe. I had to sneeze.
Atesue.
Ate sway. I like that French.
At this way. Bless you.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I enjoyed it. I've seen it 3 times. I plan on seeing it again.
Like I might see it again. Like also.
And you might change your mind too, and like give it a 10.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was saying to my dad when we were talking about it earlier. That, like
It's like,
I don't know.
fuck,
Once I see it
good.
on 35, maybe I'll just bump it out to 5 out of 5.
It's like, son,
Like
good.
usual.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
But
son, you should.
I don't know. Maybe it's like I think I'm just leaning too much on like the whole thing about it having like sort of a political slant. When I guess it's like not really the point of the movie, and probably in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's just that nagging thought that it is trying to be a part of the movie, or it is trying to be a major part of the movie.
It is
you know.
some part of it for sure. I won't deny that.
And I think, but sometimes I'm just thinking in my mind that maybe I'm just counting too much of it into like the thing, like in that it's mostly supposed to just to be about what is it? Arthur's descent into madness.
Descent into madness.
Granted, and yeah, it's not really the thing. But I guess the whole political thing can also be fruitless too, because like in a way it's like he's not really affected by any of these things in some way. I mean, can you get what I'm saying when I say that?
Yeah.
because like he's not discontent with his place in life. Not like sure the like he says like, oh yeah, I've never been happy in my 1 minute of my entire life. But like throughout like most of the first half, he's not necessarily discontent with like his position or his job and whatnot.
He actually enjoys his job.
Yeah, so it's not like that. So, but then I guess the fault from that now just kind of comes into the fault that Todd Phillips has to like needlessly insert these politics into there. It's like, so what's the point? And then to just like have them be some sort of like red herring. I don't know.
It's because fuck Trump.
Bro.
It's the ultimate dunk.
It's the
Yeah.
ultimate dunk.
But can you
It's the
am I
ultimate
making
dunk.
sense when I say that though?
I get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah, you're making
So-
sense.
Yeah, he's not necessarily discontent. Like he even says to like the guy when he's about to be fired, like, "Please, I love this job." You know,
Mm-hmm.
he likes. So it's not like that. So I guess it's not the political things like really affect Arthur, and I guess that's the whole point. Like he's supposed to be just this whole like apolitical like figure just in favor of anarchy. But I don't know. I think the film just tries to like frame it too much so to like where it is affecting him or these things do affect him to the point where they're kind of like unavoidable. But I don't know, maybe a rewatch can probably figure that out for me, or one last rewatch.
One last rewatch.
Yeah,
One
that's
last
the policy
shot.
for me. It's like I need to see a film not once, not twice, but I need to see it 3 times.
And if it's still ass, then it's ass.
Dude, you need to
Yeah.
watch it 5 times, obviously.
He's gonna watch it 5
Well, I
times.
saw it once in Toronto, early
Bless
screening.
you.
And I gotta see it once in a regular theater, and then I gotta see it in IMAX, and then I gotta see it in 35, and then I gotta see it in 70.
Then we gotta watch it in a stream with Meredith.
Then I gotta see it in
Yes.
oh no, then I gotta see it 120 frames per second.
Oh my god. That was genuine, like, headache inducing.
Wait, hold on. Final
What just
ratings.
seeing Gemini Man?
Final ratings
In-
for Joker, please.
Oh.
1.5 out of 5.
1.5 out of 5? Okay.
Or fucking 3 out of 10. Fuck this 5 out of 5 scale.
I gave it a 9
Or this
out
out
of
of
10.
5 scale.
I think it's an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Alright, I just wanted to know. But you go ahead and talk
Good
about
form,
Gemini Man.
good form screenplay garbage.
Oh my god.
Gemini Man.
Gemini Man, epic.
Gemini Man.
Haven't
Oh
seen.
my
Gemini
god.
Man is epic.
Haven't seen it.
It's epic.
I saw-
It's so
I looked at it and
good.
said, life is
But at
too
the very least, if
short.
there's like, oh wait, one more thing for Joker. If there's any recommendation I can give to it, I'd say just like it's better than The Lighthouse.
Oh, definitely.
So just like there's more to be found in that film than The Lighthouse.
Hopefully we'll all talk about the Lighthouse in the next
Lighthouse is like
episode.
fucking meme ass.
Fucking
The
yes.
Lighthouse is. That's
In the words
something.
in the words of David Lynch, total fucking bullshit.
You know, someone said that this is the most David Lynch movie never directed by David Lynch.
That's bullshit.
Uh,
That's actual
like-
bullshit.
Like I think if there's anything, I think like James Healy kind of brings up a nice little meme thing to it. It's basically if like something like Carl Theodore Dreyer directed The Shining. I'm just like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. That's
If
it.
only like Carl Theodore Dreyer was a fucking moron.
Hey, don't say that about Robert Eggers.
I like
Uh,
Robert Eggers,
just-
but even The Lighthouse is.
I don't deny
Ooh.
Eggers' like talent, but I don't know. Just Lighthouse is like what? Like what was? I mean, granted, probably wasn't a point. I don't know.
For the Lighthouse was like, ooh.
It's like fucking.
You know what I did see?
Yeah.
You know what I did
What?
see? Did see
What
a
did you
little
see?
movie called Yo-Yo.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
We all saw Yo-Yo as per recommended by Mark for our weekly film club.
Oh, how did
So-
that go?
Mr. Mark, do you want to introduce Yo-Yo?
Oh yeah. Yo-Yo is. Give me a second. Let me quit my video game that I'm playing. Sorry.
Gaming and podcasting?
Nerd.
Next level.
Yep.
Just nerd.
Soc-
Just nerd.
Societa.
I don't speak
Alright.
your language. What is that?
Oh my god. Yo-Yo is a 1965 film directed by Pierre Tex, and it stars Pierre Tex, and it's kind of It's a good double feature for Joker, not gonna lie. Clown on clown violence, you know. But
Bruh.
basically, the big concept, or just the big idea of the film, is that it's this millionaire who is incredibly lonely, and one day a traveling circus eventually sets up place in his mansion, and he finds a horsewoman, and they have a son. Correct?
Yeah, they have a son together. He was
They have a
longing
son
after her, I
together.
believe, in the portrait that he would reflect on.
Yep, they have a son, and it is an their son's life, watching the parents and all that whatnot, and it is fantastic. What did y'all think of Yo-Yo?
I enjoyed it. I think it's pretty good. I think that it has a lot of inventive camera work, and I also think that it plays with the scenery a lot. The production design and the sets themselves are fun. They're unique. They're full of imagery that you could look onto in the background if you really wanted to, especially in the museum, or not in the museum, especially in the mansion. I was talking to Meredith about this actually, like when I had first watched it. That like I love the scene where one of the servants is hanging out. I think he just got done bathing um, the dog, and he like pulls wine or a drink from the painting.
Out from the painting?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
it's great.
it's so good. I love it.
It's one of my
So
favorite
good.
gags.
Yeah, it's very it's almost surrealist, a lot of the
Yeah.
gags, because there's the one point in the film where it's later and he's going through the mansion and he opens a door into like the ring top, and
Yeah,
it's the lady swinging from the ceiling, and I was like, oh, that's fucking great.
a lot of
The
good
lighting is
transitions.
so good.
A lot of good
Lot.
transitions.
Yep.
I like that the first quarter of the movie, because I don't know if it's the first half, but the first quarter of the movie is like a silent film. Because obviously the film
Yep.
takes place in the 1920s before the Great Depression affected literally everybody.
And then it slowly brings in some more language.
Yeah,
hmm
I love the scene where like the dad is showing Yo-Yo, like because the mom is asking them about famous figures from history, and he's like helping his son by like using a deck of cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that was very funny and clever. You know, it's very quaint in a way. I enjoyed that. Dylan, what do you think about it? You're awfully silent over
Oh, sort of
there.
the same thing.
Sort of the same thing. Yeah.
Most
Sort
of my
of the
enjoyment
same
does come
thing.
from this, from like the same way. It's like the way he like also plays with the frames and a lot of the gags. Sort of like subverts your expectations.
The framing's really great.
Well, yeah, but also like I don't know, like the same thing, like the way he plays around with like items in the frame and how you can kind of deceives your own like your perception of them at first, or
Yeah.
your initial perception of them.
The images are
Like the whole thing with
deeper
like the
than they
wine, like taking like with the paintings. It's like, you know,
Yeah, the images are deeper than what you expect them to be.
yeah.
And you could feel like you could keep going further and further inside the image as opposed to it looking flat.
hmm
And I like I enjoyed the idea of some of your child or you know someone trying to continue your legacy and restore the name because that's what Yo-Yo's ultimate goal is to bring glory back to his father's mansion.
Yep.
hmm
And I think that there's something so human about that.
hmm
And like that you obviously most of us have very like I would say most of us have very deep connections to like parents, you know, and that we
hmm
in some way carry on some idea of our parents, whether it be tics and habits we have or ideas and uh, you know that being carried on. And I think that the son wanting to restore the family not only by being a famous clown but also by restoring the mansion because it's a sign of wealth, it's a sign of power, and to him he wants to bring that back to his father. I think it's very good. I like that. There's something very human about that, relatable and touching.
There's a lot of strong thematics within the movie.
I agree. I agree. I mean,
A lot of really interesting ideas.
I think people could watch it as just a normal like little 60s comedy and be like, "Oh, that's pretty funny." You know, that was a funny movie. Or they could look at it and see like, "Oh, wow, there's a lot more going on than I first initially thought."
Hmm.
Yeah, I felt like that too. I had talked with Leon the other night, like you mentioned, and I thought that I liked the homage to silent film, and it felt to me very Chaplin-esque, and just the
Oh
whole
yeah, very
sentimentality.
Chaplin, very Chaplin-esque.
When he's
Yes,
walking the dog in the car.
Yeah.
yeah, I loved that. I loved that. I loved the gag where what was it? They sent this pack of cigarettes, like the way that they sent it back and forth. I'm trying to remember how they do that, but when they're traveling, and then also when um what's his name? I'm blanking on the main guy, not Yo-Yo the son, but the father. Um, when he has to like he lets Yo-Yo take over driving like when he's a kid, and he just like very casually scoots over, and then he figures out how to like get to the back of the trailer or whatever it is that they're pulling, and he like hops a ride with like a car that comes beside them, and he just does all these different things, and it's very casual, and like I said, it's very silent film comedy. It's just I love that kind of stuff, and that kind of reminded me sort of more of like Buster Keaton or something, where they just does some quirky stuff like that. Um, and then yeah, I also loved the gag where he took um, the wine or whatever it was out of the painting. I thought that was amazing, and also just the way that they transitioned, like you guys said already, from silent to talkie
Hmm.
with the time period. I thought that was really cool. It took me a few minutes to get into it, but once I did, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
I don't know like what else there is to really like say about it for me besides
Mhm,
like that, because I think it's like, it's kind of a relatively shorter film. I'm
mhm,
more interested in about the history of it. I didn't do my research before actually like coming onto the podcast, which is just like my work ethic not being up to snuff.
mhm.
Because I am interested in like the history of it. I know that the director made obviously he's on the Criterion box set, but I know that he made Le
hmm
Grand Amour, which is a very lauded film I haven't seen yet, but I want to because I did enjoy Yo-Yo that much, and I've heard that Le Grand Amour is better. So, here's to hoping the next time I do get around to watching this guy's work.
it's a very very effective movie, and what it wants, all incredibly well done.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Oh man, I hate being sick.
Ah, is that
Yeah, I mean, out of all the movies that you could have picked, because I know that Belly is like one of your favorite movies, or the one movie that you love to shitpost. Why? I'm curious as to why you picked this one. What about it
Yeah.
spoke to you?
what about its big? Okay, with Yo-Yo, I thought it was a very very passionate look into like the first about 20-30 minutes, especially within the silent film part. It's really just expressing both in the framing, the style of it's like, yeah, it's there's some comedy in there, but it really is all in service of showing how lonely this man, everything from him walking around and like just the hallways, and we're at a low angle, so we just see everything surrounding him, and it's just overbearing on top of his situation. It's almost like it's on his shoulders, and you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
I,
Mhm.
I respected a lot of the film more on its like ability to mix the emotions with the technicality of itself, which I just found really shocking is how well it was able to do itself upon.
Hmm.
And when it kind of begins to play more like memories later on, it becomes even more kind of abstract in its images and the way it goes by with transitions and whatnot. I really enjoyed that. I just also found it, like you said, shockingly personal, more or less on the concept of trying to right a misconception that people have about your family, about your parents, about the people who matter to you the most, and you want to show people that no, that was wrong. This is how we really.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a really odd connection, but you know, I really love it. It's a very interesting movie to me, and it's funny and it's dramatic and it's sad, and I think it's a lot of things that movies should be in general. But you know, if I wanted y'all to start arguing, I could have just popped on Belly, and that would have been great. Because for some reason, y'all have Belly, and that's wild. That's absolutely
It's
wild to
like
me.
suck.
Because Belly
Dylan?
suck, is that what?
Gemini
Okay.
Man's
Name
better.
another. Name another
what?
movie. Name another movie where there is a blind drug dealer
Blind
in a
drug dealer.
mansion shooting an AR-15 at a bunch of ninjas trying to kill him.
Yeah, Gemini Man.
Gemini Man copied it, fucker. Gemini Man copied that shit.
Yeah, but like, is Belly in 120 frames per second 3D? I don't think so. It doesn't
Nope,
have like
it's in
120
two Will
35 millimeter,
Smiths.
and it shows a snippet of Gummo. Fuck you, it wins. It's better
Yeah,
than
well,
Gemini
guess what?
Man.
Gummo sucks anyway.
Ooh.
It's better than Gemini Man because
Korean
it has
kid
a scene
like
from
wait,
Gummo. It has a scene. Oh,
How many Korean kid like go? Bleh.
you're just
Like
mad
who eats
because
spaghetti with milk in the bathtub?
that's the plague disgust. But yeah, I thought it would be a longer conversation, but next time around I'll pick something that will really drive longer.
That's just
You know,
just upset us.
Hey, go
just
for
to
it.
upset y'all.
Next time I do it, I'll freaking I'll ask Trouble every day.
Oh
I'll do
God!
that again.
Why would you do that to us again?
Cause it's the goat.
It is one of the goats, but come on. No, you know what? Next film I'm gonna recommend. It's just gonna be Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Oh, that's a
Amazing.
masterpiece. Okay,
Greatest movie of all time. Yeah,
it's no Gemini Man, but I'll take it.
but I'll take it. That or Monster Squad
Ooh.
or Godzilla King of Monsters.
Interesting.
Or get the.
I'm getting.
I'll friggin' damn it. I don't know. I'll
You don't know what you're
friggin'
gonna
put on
say.
like Decker Port of Call Hawaii.
Oh no.
Fuck. God. Oh no. So what's your new obsession with On Cinema at the Cinema, Dylan?
Yeah, please explain this.
Please explain.
What? It's just awesome.
No, on
Th-
cinema
this-
at the
th- no.
cinema.
Do you want me to explain the whole mythos? Because I
Oh
can't.
my.
Just explain
No,
explain your obsession.
It's just awesome.
this is actually an intervention. Thank you for
How?
tuning in. We're here to talk about
Like
Dylan.
if you
and
don't watch all of the on cinema and like in like 1 week, I don't know what to tell
But
you.
that's like
I
what?
watched the trial. I watched the fucking trial.
Well, you
It
didn't
was
see like.
awful. It
Well,
was
that's because
so
you're missing
bad.
the context. You're missing all the context. You're missing like 8 years of like on cinema. Just kidding.
I literally
You're,
just
you
jumped.
like,
I jumped.
It's like a build up to like for like season what? What was it? Season 9?
I jumped into the trial like balls deep, knowing nothing about
You
fucking On
shouldn't
Cinema.
have done that.
I shouldn't have.
You need to have seen all all the Deckers, all of the on cinemas, and all the Oscar specials.
Okay,
It was
leading up to it.
What is on cinema at the
What-
cinema? What is it?
This is a great question. What is it? What is it, Dylan? Explain.
So like in like how do you mean?
Like, what is it? What is it about? Who made it? And why is it important?
Okay, so basically, On Cinema at the Cinema is like a mini web series created by like what is it, Tim Heidecker, or like created and written by Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington, and it stars them too. Basically, it's as a parody slash mockery of like very like what is it like what is it called
Siskel and Ebert.
2010s yeah, Siskel and Ebert, like wannabe Siskel and Ebert web reviewed shows on the internet and on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
But basically, over the years, like it's gone from that to like basically into like this whole other beast of like I don't know how the fuck to really describe it as.
It just
now.
turned
It's
into
like
its
it's
own
like every
thing.
season it like goes off into something new, whether it be like, but most of it has to either do with either Greg Turkington's like, what is it? Just annoyance with Tim as he like just keeps going deep into like all this unnecessary shit like regarding like his health or his personal life, whether it be like getting involved with like a foreign exchange student or something like that and having a baby, or then like getting like what is it like other like non-doctor approved treatments by this fucking like weird guy. It's like fucking insane.
It
I don't get
sounds
anything.
But it's all wrapped up in that same sort of brand of of humor that Tim and Eric Werheim have always been specialized in.
Uh-huh.
It's very sort of deadpan. Oh, is it deadpan? Is deadpan the right word for it? I don't think it's
I
deadpan. It's more like this sort of
Ironic?
like it's like
Yeah, it's like
ironic.
Eric Andre. It's like Eric Andre.
Yeah, it's just well, I mean, Eric Andre's like I don't know. I guess in a way, but I don't know. It's like in ways like I don't know how to really describe it right now. But there's like just a way. There's just a pull to it. Maybe it's because like the whole thing. It's like each season is basically less than 2 hours to watch, and it's like 12 it's like 10 episodes each season. So it's
God,
like
that's perfect for you.
yeah, it's like binge watching on Netflix, only good.
Stop.
Really good.
Yeah. But like just all the developments that they've gone through in like the recent times, like even like with like most of like season 10 basically being in fucking nauseating VR or 360 like VR.
Is it
I'm like,
actually?
this is yes. Just I'll show you. Let me see if I can fucking pull it up. Yeah, let me show you.
It's on YouTube right now, right?
Yeah, it's all it's like it's on. It was from season 11 or season 10. With it was like yeah, it's on Cinema at the Cinema season 10. Here, let me show you. Let me see if. All right. Wait, is this one it? No, I think it's this. This is it. Okay, let me fucking turn on the screen share. All right. So
That's beautiful.
see, look.
For those who can't see, we are Dylan's demonstrating that it's in a
See?
3D environment. So
This is
they recorded
see,
the show.
and like go all
Oh
around.
my
They
See?
gosh.
recorded the show with a 3D
This is like most of
camera.
like half the season is filmed like this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
Granted, it's like not really
hilarious.
much, but imagine
Oh no. Oh
it
no.
gets like that. It's like
Oh
fucking
no.
insane.
Do they actually actually critique movies, or do they just
No,
No.
It's just meme.
it's like
meme
the whole
shit.
thing. It's like I give it 5 bags of popcorn. It's like that's basically the extent of the rating systems in which it is. It's just all the time. It's 5 bags of popcorn. They don't even and even most of the time. Greg's like, I don't even think Tim sees the movies we review. It's
So
like
so basically, that's me and you reviewing movies.
yeah, pretty much.
I remember like one of the
That's why I watch it. It's like, oh my god, this is just.
It's like me and Mark. Oh my
It's
god.
like, and I give it 5 bags of popcorn and 2 cups of soda,
2 cups of soda.
maybe like a can of Red Bull to keep you going.
Well, because we were watching one of their Oscar specials, and they just kept talking about The Hobbit.
Well, yeah, because Greg's like a Hobbit head.
He's a Hobbit.
Even like in the most recent one, he actually had his own like Hobbit band. And that was until like Tim like fucks everything up and like gets his old band back in there. They play like fucking horrible rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody,
Oh my god.
which is by far the greatest thing to come out of 2019. To be honest,
Greg or Nick or what?
Tim
What's his name?
Heidecker.
Tim Heidecker doing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Oh no.
You gotta do it. Let me see. Anyway, yeah. I mean, especially with it, I don't know. It's like, I guess it's just sort of like they specialize in the type of humor that I fucking eat up, no matter what. Just the sort of like weird mix of irony and deadpan,
Oh
and like
no.
taken to like such extreme lengths of like making it as serious and plausible as fucking possible. It's like, what the fuck, man?
I'm watching it. I'm watching it.
It's at the very end. It's at the very end of the 6th annual Oscar special, Mark.
Nope. I'm watching. At the honor of the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody song.
Sound.
Oh my god. So
Oh,
What
And then
is
intercut
Decker
with it
then?
is like fucking the whole thing.
what is Decker then? Like, what is that? Is it like a
That's,
spin-off?
yeah.
Is it a parody of like spy stuff?
What's up?
It's a parody of spy stuff. This Decker thing.
Yeah, basically. It's like, well, is it a parody? I don't know. Like, it's gone on to inspire many films. Like freaking, like one of the episodes of Decker was actually the main like point of inspiration for Gemini Man.
Oh my god.
Did you know that?
Oh my
No.
god, that's fucking.
Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Give me one sec. See, like,
Hey Meredith,
Mhm.
I'm curious. What is the movie that you're going to be recommending us?
Okay, so I have thought long and hard about this, and in true nature of me not being able to decide very easily, I'm gonna ad-lib this. Okay, so the movie that I am going to recommend you all watch this week is going to be I'm gonna tell you guys, you should watch It Happened One Night from 1934.
It happened
Oh,
one
yeah.
night. Is that the one with what's
Clark
his name?
Gable.
Yeah,
Yes. Have you all not seen it? I want to make sure.
I have
I
not
looked at
seen
I
it
it.
on
haven't
Letterboxd.
seen it.
I
I've watched
haven't seen it.
I watched an hour of it when I was in like film class, but I still haven't seen it though.
Okay.
I've
okay.
been wanting to watch it for a while.
Sweet. Okay, so as long as that qualifies, I'm gonna go ahead and say
Yeah,
that
no, it
then.
qualifies. I've been planning on
Yeah.
watching it for a super stupid amount of time, and I was actually going to watch it this week, but I never got around to it. So, hey, that's a perfect recommendation.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because
good stuff. Good stuff.
I've been on the 1930s binge right now. I've been trying to get to as many 1930s films as I can, or at least the landmark ones.
That's good because there's another one from the early 30s that I'm gonna recommend. Probably my second round. So, yeah, okay, I'll keep that up.
Okay, that's perfect. All right, it happened one night. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I've heard amazing things about it.
Yes,
That'd
I
be
hope
pretty
you.
cool.
I think that's an episode. I think that's an episode, everybody.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
We did it.
Yeah.
You
Thanks
just
for
like stop
listening.
recording then.
Huh?
Oh, you did okay.
Okay.